Avatar Fire and Ash in IMax 3D. What did we think of it, and is it worth it?
These aren't even working, mate.
Well, obviously.
Let's get into it.
So this is actually the first 3D film that I've seen in the cinema, and overall it was such an amazing experience. But there were a few little parts of the 3D that did take me out of the film.
The last time I watched a 3D film was actually the first Avatar in 2009, and I remember being so blown away by the experience and being so immersed in this world.
I actually watched the second film in normal standard 2D at the cinema when it first came out. I thought it was a little bit too long, and I'm not the biggest fan of Avatar anyway. I preferred this film than the second one, and I think a big part of that was because of that amazing 3D experience.
I think if you're watching a 3.5-hour film in 2D, the story's got to be absolutely sensational, and I think this film, obviously, as James Cameron, clearly points out, it was shot full 3D.
It goes over my head completely, like how they done it. I think they used some mirror and had two cameras shooting into it to be able to create that 3D aspect.
Because they had to have two cameras, essentially, would have to be on top of each other. So then obviously the workaround was shooting through plexiglass or some sort of mirror to create the 3D effect.
And because of that, he shot it only for 3D, and he says it's not gimmicky 3D, like, oh, here's an arrow in your face. He wants you to feel a part of the world.
And I think when you're watching the film, there are some scenes when you think this was probably really meant for 3D, and you feel like the characters are almost like reaching out to you in the scene. There were definitely some other moments where there was some focus pulls where it's obviously letting the audience feel the 3D more. And I think you mentioned it sort of put you off a little bit.
Yeah, there was some scenarios where, because sometimes when I watch films, I don't just look at what's in focus. I like to see the out of focus elements, like a character in the foreground, for example. Sometimes looking at them, it just made my eyes go a little bit weird. So I had to think to myself, right, I have to look at the focus elements, which is obviously what the filmmakers want you to do.
But then that in turn kind of throws you a little bit out of the film. If you're thinking during a film, you're not being immersed truly in the story.
Yeah, I can't admit I was very tired. Halfway through the film, I was like, my eyes were going a little bit.
Basically, he was falling asleep.
Yeah, slowly falling asleep. I didn't know. Sometimes it's weird, like I tilt my head if I'm tired, and I noticed if you tilt your head, it all went weird and kind of fuzzy, so I had to make sure that my head was fully straight to watch it. And again, that kind of threw me out of the film a little bit because I couldn't get as comfortable as I wanted to watching it. And obviously, being a 3-hour, 20-minute film, I want to be as comfortable as possible.
With the 3D, I think the technology and the skill involved in the CGI comes out more. So when the humans are interacting with the Na'vi in 3D, it really feels like they're real because of the perspective. It just really it comes to life more. It really feels like they're part of the story. But I guess in 2D, it feels more superimposed.
And I think that's why it's really cool that James Cameron shot this for 3D, because it really does elevate the experience massively. Because if, again, like I said with the second film, I watched it in 2D, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I thought it was an amazing, visually stunning film, but the story and just the length of it really just put me off it a little bit. And I said to you straight away, I think I prefer this film than the second one, just because of the immersion, the experience of it, because we watched it in IMax 3D.
I think if you look at it as a standalone film, I think if I watched it in 2D, I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. I think the story is very similar to the second film, almost identical.
Especially with the ending, like the last battle.
Yeah, well, you kind of like, what's going to happen, right? At that point of the film, 3 hours in, the 3D aspect kind of wanes a bit, and when your eyes have adjusted for that long, you are just focused on the story, and then it starts to fall a bit flat. But the first hour or two, especially the first 15 minutes, I was like, this is insane. Like, it looks so good.
That first chase scene between the two brothers.
Yeah, when they're flying together. It looks so real. Because obviously you've got the depth with 3D, the environment of Pandora really comes to life. If it was cut down to 2.5 hours...
Yeah, that would have made it so much more easier to watch and more enjoyable.
I think the second film, obviously, you're exploring the world of the water, so I'm a bit gutted I didn't watch it in 3D because it's a new experience seeing the whole water elements. But in this film, again, it's in the same environment again. They didn't really explore the Ashnavi too much.
Like when they saw that volcano, I thought you would have saw that
unbelievable in 3D, didn't it?
That would have looked amazing. I reckon. I was hoping you would see more of that side of Pandora.
So a big talking point, obviously, is the price to watch it in 3D. In the UK here, it's £25, I think it was.
And that was with a 10% discount.
That was with his Odeon discount as well.
I'm lucky I got it for £5, and I think that's why I went to watch it in 3D too.
Yeah. Was it worth it? I'd say yes. I mean, what is £25? It's probably a nice meal somewhere. It was a 3.5 hour experience that I did enjoy, so I'd say it's good value.
With the amount of work and effort that they do put into it,
there is a lot of love and craft. You can see
massive.
it like every frame the detail is just it does blow your mind. I think as filmmakers, I did try and appreciate the work that went into it. So I guess a non-filmmaking person, just a normal moviegoer, might think, God, this is a bit, you know,
long and dragged out.
A bit self-indulgent, a bit long. But I think when you really know what goes into these films and the passion that James Cameron brings and the amount of work and money, I mean, how much did it cost to make?
400 odd million, like, budget.
And I think it does show, like, it is insane. But it's a bit of a shame how some of the performances, I think Spider, like, I think some of his performances weren't the best.
Yeah, that kind of threw me out of the film as well. When you're thinking of that, you're not in the film immersed. And again, it comes to the story, and that's what's letting this franchise down a little bit. Even though it does cost quite a lot more to go and see this, I actually think it's definitely worth paying the extra money, because if you watched it in 2D, you might not enjoy it as much because the story isn't as strong, and the 3D aspect of it really does immerse you into the world, and it definitely made me enjoy it way more than if I would have watched it in 2D like I did the second one.
There's no beating around the bush. The story, you know, does let it down a little bit. As a whole, it's there to be enjoyed as an experience. I think that's why, you know, it's been shot for 3D really. So I think if you're going to go and watch it, and you know it's a very long film, I think you should probably experience it in the cinema firstly and in 3D.
With home streaming like Netflix and Prime taking over the film industry at the minute, it is really nice to go out and see something different, and I'm really appreciative of James Cameron really trying to push this technology forward, trying new things, shooting for 3D, because it is an experience everyone should go out and see, and I really hope that this will really help cinema going forward, especially with Netflix buying Warner Brothers. We're not sure what that's going to do to the cinema market, so I really hope this film does do well. I'm pretty sure it is going to do well.
I think it has done well.
Yeah, it really has done well. So hopefully all of these new movies coming out will do really well at the box office, so we can get really cool movie experiences like this in the future.
So thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. Drop us a like and subscribe for more content.